Hi guys, in this lesson I want to show you how you can apply your pentatonic scales to the 2-5-1 progression. The pentatonic scale is one of the first scales that you learn as a guitar player, but once you start working with chords with extensions and more complicated progressions, then you quite fast move on to playing the major scale in its modes and different kinds of minor, and you can't leave the pentatonic scale behind. But it kind of still has a place, and you can use it as a certain sound that you put on top of other progressions. So in this lesson I'm gonna go over a few choices of using pentatonic scales over a common 2-5-1. And mostly the 2-5, because the one chord I already mentioned in my previous lesson on pentatonic scales. And I'm going to give you some examples on how you can make lines with that and some of the melodies that you can make with that kind of sound. So the basis of this, all the examples in my lesson are based around a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat. So it will be C minor, F7, and B flat major 7. In finding the pentatonic scales that we can use are quite simple in this case, because we have a key already. We have the B flat major as a key, and what you may or may not know or have already figured out is that for each major scale you have 3 pentatonic scales that are diatonic to that scale. So in the case of B flat major, you have a C minor, you have a D minor, and you have G minor pentatonic scales contained in the scale. So whenever you have a chord, you sort of have to look at which one of those will fit in that situation. So for the C major, the C minor 7 chord, well, of the three pentatonic scales, well, the C minor of course will work, because it is basically a C minor chord with an added F. The G minor will work quite well too, because it has a lot of common notes with the C minor. It does not contain the A, because in this context I kind of don't want to hear this sound, because I want to save that note for the F chord. Which is why you can't use the D minor. So that means that of the 3 you can use the C minor and the G minor. And the D minor, well, if you play D minor on top of this, it might work in a modal situation where you have sort of the sound of C minor sort of really clearly there for a longer period of time, and if you then play something in D minor pentatonic, but in this case, this sound is maybe not really what we're looking for. We want to have something that sort of just reflects a little bit the sound of the chord and fits with it and doesn't create too much tension in itself. The next chord in the progression is the F7, and I think with this one you could kind of use all 3. In C minor will work quite okay, except for the fact, of course, that it doesn't have an A, it has a B flat. So a little bit, it's becoming a little bit sort of a soft sound when you play it. But it might work. Of course, D minor is the same as F major pentatonic, so that'll work pretty well. The G minor or B flat major pentatonic to me, it doesn't contain an A and it doesn't contain an E flat, which would be sort of the basis of that F7 sound. But there is another option, because we can also play this chord, which is an F7 altered. And F7 altered is F sharp melodic minor, and F sharp melodic minor has one pentatonic scale in it, and that's G sharp or A flat pentatonic. So that'll be this key. So we have that one too. So now we have a few options for scales on the two chords. I'm not really going to go into the options for the one chord, because in my first lesson I'm only concerned with which pentatonic scales you can play over a major 7 chord. So you can always just look at that to find some ideas. So instead, let's do a few examples on how you can put this to use and make some lines with these pentatonic scales. I think one of the sort of advantages to this approach is that you get another kind of melodies when you have that kind of scale. So you don't get so much the typical bebop or hop hop melodies that would have which will consist mostly of like thirds and seconds. You get a completely different sound. So it's not only about which notes, but it's also just going to give you some other melodies, and that's kind of the attraction to me anyway about it, that you can get some different kind of melodies and different kind of sounds, and that gives you something else to play on the same progression at a later point in the solo or in the second chorus or something like this. So that's a little bit how I approach this. So let's just look at some examples. So the first example sounds like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm on the C minor 7, I'm playing C minor pentatonic, and then I'm actually just moving that up a whole step for the F7, and then playing D minor pentatonic. And also in this example, really just the normal box like this. I guess I'm kind of assuming that you have figured out all the 5 positions and a few more interesting ways to play a pentatonic scale already in this lesson, so I'm not really going to demonstrate the different positions and stuff like that. Well, yeah, so here's a description of the melody. Well, this is of course an E flat major arpeggio, followed by this stack of fourths, and these stacks of fourths, as I mentioned in another lesson, they are in fact diatonic chords in a pentatonic scale. So if you stack every other note in a pentatonic scale, you get these kind of sounds, and that's what I'm using here. So you get the triad, and then the diatonic chord here from the root, and then I move up on the F7, and that's sort of a sequence actually. So it's almost playing the scale in groups of 4, and then when I resolve it, I'm resolving to the 5th of B flat, and then I'm just adding this part of the arpeggio afterwards, because to me often I find that the D minor pentatonic scale on the F7 is not the strongest sound that you can have. I'm kind of missing my E flat a little bit, I guess. Maybe it's also just because we're doing the example a little bit out of context, so you don't have the idea of the key while we're playing this. So the second example, so here I was using first the C minor on the C minor 7 chord, and then the A flat minor, that was the line, on the F7 altered, and resolving that to B flat. So what's going on? Well, actually this is just running down the scale, huh? And the next one is sort of a sequence. So that's sort of an A flat minor arpeggio, and this is just a scale fragment resolving to the F. Sorry, to the F, not to the F7 altered. So the third example, here I chose to add a bit of line on the B flat major 7 because it's sort of a neat way to do this, and I didn't even play the melody in the most obvious way to do it. But if you look at the different pentatonic scales that you can use on this progression, then you could choose to go on the C minor. You'll play a G minor pentatonic. On the F7 altered you can use A flat, and on the B flat you can use A minor. So basically you have like this chromatically ascending row of pentatonic scales, and then you make a line with that. And the line I made now, of course, I mean, you could make something that's like, and that will work too, and it has its place for sure, but I chose to make a line that's moving a little bit differently, and then just having this sort of framework in the back of my mind when I'm playing on it. So that's how that works. Let's look at the line. So it's a long stagger fourths in the key of G minor. Has sort of a Holsworth taste to it. Then on the F7 altered, I'm first playing this, yeah, that's sort of an A flat minor 7 kind of thing. And then this, which is an F sharp or G flat sus triad. Which is one of the sounds. I really have the connection of how do you say that, of sus chords and pentatonic scales, because if you just put a bass note under a pentatonic scale, you very often get like the sus kind of sound. And this is an example of emphasizing that. It moves on to using the A minor pentatonic scale on the B flat, and there I'm playing first this pattern, which is also just one of your basic pentatonic scale exercises. Again, A minor 7 arpeggio in inversion, and then landing on the third of the chord. So that was 3 examples of how you can use pentatonic scales when you're playing over a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat, or any other key in fact. I hope you can use it, and that you can maybe get some new approaches to how you play 2-5s from this. In any case, if you like the lesson, then feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, or go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter there to stay up to date with the new lessons that are coming. You can also download a PDF of the examples from this lesson on my website. The link will be in the description. And if you have any comments or suggestions for other topics, or things you would like to see me work on in these lessons, then feel free to let me know. You can leave a comment on the video, or connect with me on Google+, or Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram, and let me know there. Yeah, so until next week, thank you for watching.